Hello, viewers. How are you doing? How is your day been? How has it been going? Happy weekend to you all. How have you been? Welcome to another episode on your favorite talk show on Serenity TV, where we bring you trending stories, real life gossip, and everything you can call it. We bring you interesting topics where you learn and listen to things that makes you a better person, because that is the reason we are here. So I am your lovely host, Gloria. So today we'll be discussing something entirely different, something that has to do with humanity, humanitarian duties, and all that. Our topic for today is living for others. How little sacrifices cause ripples effect in the society. That is what we'll be discussing today. And to discuss this topic with me, I have the beautiful one and only Mrs. Jovita Abu. Mrs. Jovita, you're welcome.
Thank you, Gloria.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you too?
I'm very well, thank you. You're beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
All right. So Mrs. Jovita here will actually she will actually help us to understand exactly what it means to be living for others, the sacrifices and everything that comes with it. So don't go anywhere. Sit back because we have a lot to unpack. We have a lot for you to learn from. We have a lot that you really wouldn't want to miss. Don't go anywhere. All right, Mrs. Jovita. So, can you briefly introduce yourself and tell us more about the Old Pairs of Owerri Development Initiative, the OPODI? Okay, how it started and what inspired its creation.
Okay. Thank you, Gloria.
Very well.
Okay. My name is Jovita Abu. I'm the technical advisor to the Office of Chief Economic Advisor to the government of Imo State. I'm also the International Welfare Director of All Peers of Owerri Development Initiative. And All Peers of Owerri is an association formed 10 years ago. And the reason for this association coming together is, it's just made up of men and women who grew up in Owerri in the 70s, 80s, and then the early part of 90s. And the idea behind it is just for us to reconnect, having been, across the globe. It's an international organization. So most of us are everywhere across the world. And then we're here to just come together and give back to the society. Most of us actually grew up in a way, and just to give back to the society that gave us so much, and then just to give back to it, and then celebrate ourselves and come together, have programs, and make sure that we look out for each other. That's basically how and why this association came to be. And 10 years down the line, we're still here, getting stronger by the day.
All right, that's beautiful. Now, what would you say is the core mission or the vision of the organization?
Yeah, I already hinted on that, and that is just to give back to this beautiful society, give back to this beautiful town that shaped us. A lot of us went to school here. Some others went to school outside of Owerri, but basically we grew here, maybe born and lived here. Some of us are still here in Owerri, and then a good number of us are not here. So is the idea behind it is just to, come together, celebrate ourselves, and give back to this society in any way we can.
All right, thank you. So our topic for today is living for others.
Yeah.
How little sacrifices cause ripple effects in the society. So what would you say about this topic, living for others, so far in your journey and the course of you in this organization? What would you say? What would you say about the topic, living for others?
Yeah, that's self-explanatory. That is a sacrificial life. Being there and making sure that the people around you are, okay, they are taken care of. And that is part of why this association, All Pairs of Owerri Development Initiative, came to be. And of course, the association has given back so much to this city. And if you allow me mention some of the things we have done, we have this. I will start by saying that we have branches or chapters across the world. So we have our mother chapter here in Owerri. We have in Lagos. We have in Abuja. We have in Port Harcourt, we have in the UK, we have in North America, we have in Germany, and Canada as well. So these are the chapters we have. So, and of course, we once in a while come together, have charity initiatives where we take care of the less privileged among us. So we have a mother chapter championing a very beautiful cause, which is feeding the poor, and that is us coming together, making food as much as we can, going around the streets and distributing to the less privileged. And I would like to say that most of our activities are like giving back to Owerri, even when we're outside of Nigeria and outside of Imo State. Okay, so we have in Lagos chapter, they've done a pension initiative at the time where the pensioners were owed pension, and we had very indigent pensioners at the time. So we actually had to go to the pensions office to get records of the very indigent pensioners among us, and then we were paying them monthly. Okay, so we're paying these pensioners every month just to make life easier for them, because a lot of them, being retired, some of them didn't have access to healthcare, they didn't have access to food and everything else they needed to survive on. So that we did, and then we also had championed by our Abuja chapter, scholarship schemes, and then we gave scholarship to schools here in Imo State. We selected some schools, we paid for the examinations of some indigent students, and we also have exercise books, and this is what Lagos chapter is championing right now. This Christmas, we'll produce exercise books and give to the students across selected schools. So these are some of the things we're doing just to make sure that we give back. And of course, in terms of projects, we're building bus stops. We're building bus stops. We're building bus stops, and we're also building public toilets. We're actually awaiting approval from the government at this point, so that we'll be able to execute that. So these are some of the things we're doing just to make sure that we try to give back to this beautiful society that shaped us to who we are today.
All right, That's very, very impressive. Now, in your own opinion, why do you think it is important for individuals to live beyond themselves and contribute back to the society?
Yes, it's very important. You can't even overemphasize the importance, because there are some people you meet, and it's just by the sheer grace of God that you are where you are, and those people are where they are. Not like we're better than them or we're smarter. And sometimes you could see your schoolmates and they were really a lot smarter than you in school. And then you see them, you wonder what happened or what went wrong along the line. And then some of us that may not have been that smart in school, doing so well and all that. So the only thing you can do is just to appreciate and realize that it's not by your grace, it's not by your power. So you like to give back, you like to put smiles on their faces, you like to help. Like where now, Christmas is approaching, so this is what we do. And then very importantly, the association, part of its annual program, we actually come back every year to have a reunion. And this is like international reunion made up of all the chapters, coming together. And part of the program we have is charity visit. So we have this charity program, visit to the motherless babies home, visit to the hospitals, where we pay hospital bills for those that are indigent and not able to, pay their bills and all that. So that's part of the charity, part of living for others. And I'll tell you, like last year, we had this exercise in the Federal Medical Center. And going to that hospital, there were so many people that had been discharged, but because they couldn't pay their bills, they were stranded. And paying their bills, some of them, I can't even express how happy they were, with that singular act of, paying for them and letting them go spend the new year with their families. Normally, we do it between 28th and 30th of every year. So this is just, nothing is more typical than that in terms of exemplifying living for others. So that is what we do. You pay their bills, and some of them, women that gave birth to children, they're not able to pay their bills, and we pay their bills, and then let them off the hook of the hospital. So this is just few examples of how people can live for others, how people can sacrifice to make sure that others are happy. And of course, we also have food stuff that we distribute to those that are less privileged, those that may not have enough to eat, especially during the festive season. So this is part of what we do, and nothing tells us more or demonstrates more about living for others than these acts that we put up. And of course, we on our own, a lot of us will come, and too many things we do, acts of charity. So living for others is nothing other than showing love, showing kindness, putting smiles on the faces of those that may not. In fact, and the good thing is you do it, and you see the people lifted from where they are, their spirits lifted from where they are to a whole new level. So that's
Okay,
typically living for
okay.
others.
That's very, very nice. That's beautiful. Now let's talk about you as a person,
Okay.
not the organization. You as a person. How does it feel, or how do you feel when you give out, contribute to the society, when you see those joy and smiles on their face? How do you feel?
Of course, nothing can be more heartwarming and fulfilling than that, because I'm a Vincentian, that is, I belong to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul in the Catholic Church, and that has been our core, giving to others. And sometimes it's not about the society, it's about you, how you're able to touch people. So, and belonging to that society doesn't teach me anything other than, this is me naturally, and then having been a part of, or being a part of that society, nothing gives me more joy than just touching lives. I could be walking on the street, and sometimes people complain that, oh, I don't have to give strangers money for 1, 2, 3 reasons, but I personally don't believe in that. So even when you think somebody doesn't need it, but you don't really know what that person is going through as a human. So that is what I do on a regular basis. It's part of my life, and I believe that giving others, in giving you receive. In giving you receive. That is just my personal mantra.
All right, all right. Now, a lot of people say, okay, when you ask some people why they don't give, they say because I don't have. Some people feel that you have to have enough
No,
to be able to give out.
you can't have enough.
No, that's how some
I know,
people feel,
because
yeah?
you really can't have enough, because there is no way you have 10,000, for instance. Now
Okay.
maybe your problem is even problem of 20,000, and out of that 10,000 you have, if you give out 500, I'm not sure it will touch you so much, but that person that you have ended up giving, could bring blessings to you. That's one thing I believe in. When you give, in giving you receive. So you give, and then you don't even know how you're going to get more than what you have given, and even enough to take care of whatever problem that you may be faced with at the time.
Okay, so in other words, you don't have to have
And you
all
can never have
need
enough. You can
to
never have
give.
enough. No.
Okay, from
The more you have,
very
the more
little,
problems.
okay,
Yes, the more you have, the more problems you have, or the more need
you
to
have.
do other things and all that. So
So you
that's
could actually give from the very small you have
from the little you have.
and assist the society
Exactly.
with the little you have.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when we talk about living for others, how little sacrifices can cause ripple effects in the society. What do you think about when you these little sacrifices that can cause ripple effects? How can you, or how do I put it? How can you help in the society? Maybe from the very society, from the very environment, your community. Let's say community as an example. From your community, how do you think you can come out and help your community without, even if you don't have that enough you're talking about, that can create impact in the life of those in your community?
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. Yeah, nothing exemplifies it more than what the All Peers of Owerri Development Initiative is doing at the moment, especially Owerri chapter, which is our mother chapter. I said we just had the charity, the Feed the Poor exercise this morning, and then what I'm saying is, we didn't embark on this journey because we had all the money, but we felt that it's something we could do. And members alone could not raise the money. We reached out to people, and you find out that there are so many people that are big in charity. Some of them don't even know how or who to give the money to. And once you approach them and they see that this is, an avenue to give back or to help the poor, so we actually we're just executors. So many people donated to us. So many people gave us what we use today for the exercise. So it's I mean, the best way to handle it is not by you as a human, but when you come together as a group and reach out to people, that's when you see the power of giving, the power of acceptance. People will, but if you're able to explain what it is for and express what the project is about, you see a lot of people giving. Even strangers, you see Christians, you see Muslims, you see your friends, you see those that may not even be your friends, maybe strangers that may hear that this is happening, and you see them, oh, take this bag of rice to support, take this 20K, take this 50K, and all of this put together will go a very long way in making sure that the impact is felt on the long run. And then another thing is another thing is really being open about it. Like this exercise we had today, the planning was so open. People saw how the money came, what the money was used for. And when you have this sort of exercise, when people see the transparency in the initiative, you see next time they want to give more, they want to do more to make sure that, the lives of the people are touched. Imagine me having maybe 5K or 10K at this point. It may not do much, but if I see an association or an organization that are doing stuff like this, you see that if I give them this money and then they come back and give me feedback on how the project went or whatever, then you see that I will want to do more, in subsequent programs. So basically, living for others is about you sacrificing and giving to those that may not have enough.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, let's quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue from our stuff. Thank you.
All right.
All right, viewers. Welcome back from that very short break. We've been discussing living for others. That is what we've been discussing. Trust me, it has been a very interactive section in the house with Mrs. Jovita. She has been telling us more about her organization, where they help and reach out to people. So now let's continue. Let's move further by, okay, Mrs. Jovita, sorry, have you witnessed any real life incident whereby a little act of kindness led to a great positive change?
Of course. Of course, that's I mean, a lot of that, a whole lot of situations like that. Want me to give examples?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll say that there's a particular family. I'll just still link it to my Society of St. Vincent de Paul, where we had, or where normally we have families assigned to us. We call them masters or clients. And, we have these people as maybe you would say account officer if you were in a bank, so these are my customers, these are people that I take care of. And then I had a particular family that was assigned to me, one of the families. And one day we went to them, and at the time I always took my children to visit those clients so that they will have a feel of what I mean, a feel of the other side,
Yes.
or at least have an idea. So we went to a particular family, and of course, I had rice, I had oil, and a lot of other food stuff. And then, as we're bringing those out of the car, one of the children started crying, and the boy said, "No, this is too much. This is too
Wow.
much." So my son started crying as well, and so my son was asking, "What is it? Why are you crying?" He said, "No, it's too much." And the boy said, "Oh, we've never had food this much before." And it was really, it was quite emotional. And then that period, I won a fan in the church. There was a kind of a lottery where I won a fan. So that fan was part of what I took to them, and then took the food to them, and the boy couldn't stop crying. And then, of course, I had to hug him and all that. And somehow I became closer to that family. I monitored their progress. And then they also had challenges with the school fees and a lot of other things. And of course, we managed, and then I tried to push as much as I could. And of course, I also had access to some other people that could support. So, I mean, wasn't just that family, but that particular incident that they really touched me so much that I had to, really focus more on that family to make sure that they moved from where they were. And of course, I'm happy to say that it happened that they were lifted out of
Yeah.
where they were to a whole new
Okay.
level.
In that, how do you identify or how do you reach out to to those people and community that are in need? How do you identify them and reach out to them?
Oh, well, they are all over the place around us. If you look closely, you see. And somehow, and sometimes you see people that are masked. You may not really know looking at them
Yeah.
peripherally, but once you look deeply, you will know. Once you reach out, and if you're the kind of person that you relate with others, you will always find out. You will always find out those that are not having it easy, those that are not having it interesting. So you don't have to go far in your neighborhood. You open your eyes, no matter where you live, there will still be people within that neighborhood that are struggling. And then in your church, and then even as you're moving around in the streets, you can still see people. And somehow, when I go to the market to buy things, you see some people that are selling, some traders, and you look at what they are selling. I'm very inquisitive. I ask a lot of questions, by the way. So by the time you ask one or two questions, the kind of answers you get will shock you. Okay, so there are some people that what they are selling, if you quantify it, it will be so paltry. And then I'll ask, how do you take care of your family? I mean, do you have a family? And then the person says yes. So when you ask that question and the person tells you, this is what I do, and then you'll be like, oh, really? So it's not difficult to find out where these people are. You'll always identify them if only you want to, or if only that is part of, I mean, if only that's part of you, you'll always identify them. And then with whatever you have, you may not have on that day, but once you notice that these people are struggling, you may decide on a regular basis to be supporting them. So, like I am, there are people that I support on a periodic basis. When that time comes, I'll give them whatever I can. And food stuff, money, clothes, anything at all. So, this goes a very long way in making those people's lives happier. And then, of course, they pray for you. I believe so much in the
Yeah.
power of prayers. Yeah.
All right. Now, I believe that in everything we do in life, there are challenges. And definitely in this area, there are also challenges. So, what are the challenges you and your team have encountered while trying to execute this project of helping the community and helping those at large? And how have you overcome these challenges?
Well, do you really overcome the challenges? They are part of our lives and our life journey. All I can say is sometimes you have this entitlement mentality coming from the people you're supporting because sometimes maybe on a periodic basis you're giving them stuff and then it becomes a part of it.
Yeah.
Like I had this girl I was living with, I was taking care of their family, and their mom asked if I needed someone to stay with. And of course, I think at that time I did. So I stayed with the girl, and then her brother gained admission, and then every day I was getting the list of.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, the challenges are here with us. At some point, I was doing it, but I'm like, I just told the mom that I'm supporting the family, but I don't think I need to be told when he's going back. I don't need to be told that his pocket money was out and all of those kind of things. So sometimes you see that they have entitlement mentality, and then some other times you see that you may not have at the point where they really, really would need, and then in such situations, you may have to also be the one to reach out to other people. And in reaching out to other people, sometimes they will look at you like you're disturbing them.
Yes,
Yeah, so
exactly.
that's also something that comes in. But these challenges are here, they live with us, and you can never really overcome all of them. But I'll say like this initiative of feeding the poor we have. Maybe it's that last week we didn't have enough, but we also had to reach out. This is an over chapter program, but we had to reach out to our friends who actually are not part of this chapter, and then our members who are also in diaspora. A number of them gave us money to support, and at the end of the day, we had enough, for our budget and even a little extra, for gifts and all. So, yeah, so the challenges are here with us. We try to manage, we try to look out for ways of overcoming them, but I'm not sure we can really overcome all the
Yeah.
challenges that come with all of this.
Yeah. I can imagine that part where you're actually helping someone and it becomes an entitlement. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
I'll have to be doing that
Yeah.
all the time.
Mm.
All right. Now, how do you measure or evaluate the impacts of your community your community outreach programs? How do you evaluate the impact you guys give?
That's a beautiful question. The evaluation might not be very easy, but one thing is, when people hear about your program, when they hear about your organization or your association, the kind of feedback you get from them. And another thing very important is when you reach out to them, when you have projects or programs and you reach out to people, their reaction. If you are rated highly or if they see credibility in what you're doing, once you go to them, you see them going right out of their way to support, no matter how little. So that is one impact. And then some of them, maybe I'll say when we go for the charity program, I think it was last year we went to um, where the bone setting facility, and then we see people coming with us, bringing out their own money. Some people will just, oh, I like to go, and then they will come with us. And you see, even as they have made the donation as a group, they will still they will still pay out of their pocket to support. You see them seeing those very indigent people, sick people, they will give that. So, overall, measuring the success has a lot to do with your level of credibility, the way they see you, and the way they see how transparent your processes are. So that is what it is. But overall, it's not very easy. But the feedback you get from people is one very, sure way of, taking in how people see you or how they rate what you're doing.
All right. Well, I can really say that you and your organizations, you guys are really doing a good job. Now, to a lot of young people out there, many young people today chase personal success. Most of them just want to make this money for personal reasons. We all know. Now, how can they balance ambition and service to others?
Oh, well, I think it has to do with individuals and even those that are also pursuing that money. You still see some of them when they make that money, that quick money, still some of them actually give, back to the society. And then those that also may be very hardworking, working for their money, also may not give that much also to the society. So, but I personally believe it's something that starts from childhood. So I like to encourage parents, I like to encourage people listening to us to make sure that from the beginning they take their children along on these charity missions. I remember when my daughter was in secondary school, part of their assembly assignment was to go to any charity facility. They will ask them questions. You go there, that's like your take home assignment for the term. So you go there, find out what the organization is about and everything. And as you're going, of course, you take food and take whatever gifts to them, maybe to the hospice, motherless babies home, and any of such facilities. And we did that once. And then when it was we'll go as a family. So when it was my last daughter's birthday, I think her next birthday, she wanted to spend that birthday with those people. We had to go back to that facility to spend. So what I'm saying in essence is it all depends on who the people are. And it's good to start very young, to start small, teaching your children and also letting them into the other side of life.
All right. All right. Thank you. Now, you personally, you've taught or you've shown your children how to live for others, not just themselves. Now, how can others, families, schools, and religious churches and mosques and all that, how can they teach younger generations or instill in them the art of sacrificing, giving to others? How can they do that?
Well, it all depends on their focus. So we definitely do not have to, think of ourselves more than, all the time. We should also think of others, look out for others. So I believe every church, I'm just talking for myself in my church, we are very big on that. We're big on charity. We are big on helping others. We're big on taking care of the less privileged. And sometimes, even in my association in the church, women that are not doing anything, we ask them, what do you want to do? We buy sewing machines, we buy grinding machines, we buy freezers, the cooking gas and set up businesses for them. So those that want to learn skills, we teach them and put them through that. So it's something that churches that should be a part of churches, and then even organizations. There should be, the CSR bit, where they like to give back to the schools, give back to people around them, their environment, And the government also should take that up. I know the government is doing that. I know churches, I know schools, I know probably mosques. I'm not so sure, but this is something a lot of organizations do. But I think we should be more intentional about it and do a lot more of that, so that at least the world will be a better place for us.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Now, a quick one before we go, because our time
Okay.
is fast spent. Now, what advice would you give to community-based groups or youth organizations that want to make a difference in the society but they lack resources? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is very simple. Like I said earlier, most of the people would always respond. But one thing that is really very clear is that they would like to see that their money is judiciously spent. They don't want to see their money embezzled. Nobody wants to give and then the money ends up in another person's pocket. So if you're an organization, if you're a group that want to, do charity, if you're a group that want to touch lives of others, it is really very imperative that you become very clear and transparent about it. And you see people, maybe for a start, you may not get all that support, but over time, you see people supporting you. You go to groups, you go to organizations, you go to companies who actually may have the budget for CSR, that is corporate social responsibility, but may not have where to spend that on. Because I have that, I have that experience. I know organizations that we can reach out to, write to, and then once they see that this is done, and of course you have to give them evidence, you have to give them proof of execution that this is what you use for this particular project and all that. Yeah, it's not easy for a start, but even when you don't have the money, you can still find a way to reach out, and then you'll be able to start small, and over time you scale up and do more.
All right, thank you. So finally, how can people who are listening right now get involved or support your cause?
Oh yeah, that is really beautiful. So, OPS of Owerri Development Initiative is an association made up of men and women who grew up in Owerri from the 70s, 80s, and the part of the early 90s. And then and that's an association of people who are 35 years and above. That is why I said early 90s. So if you're not up to 35, you're not qualified to be part of us.
And I was thinking I was going
No,
to
that's
call
not
it.
at all. I mean, it's a very serious organization. It's a
Okay.
very serious association. So we think people should, be mature to an extent to be a part of us. So, and then of course, this is where we try to celebrate ourselves because we're all, growing. So in celebrating ourselves, we also celebrate others and celebrate our parents and, be there for each other. Like we have a lot of parties, a lot of us celebrating this Christmas. We'll all gather around each other and then give back to the society, which we're really very intentional about. And of course, if you guys want to be a part of us, can I give a number out? That possible?
Yeah, go ahead. You can just call it out. Are you blushing?
No, I am actually. No, let me get a number. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me get a number to call. So if you want to reach out to this great association, if you want to register, we're asking that you register with us. Come to us, call this number, especially if you're here in Owerri, grew up in Owerri, and want to identify with us. So you can call 0706 350 1311. I'll take that again, right?
Okay.
0706 350 1311. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Jupiter. It was really nice having you in the studio. And I really, really enjoyed this conversation. It was really nice. So, viewers out there, thank you very much for watching. You've heard about our topic today. And I believe you've learned a thing or two, living for others, what it means to live for others, and how little sacrifices can cause ripple effects in society. No matter how small it is, just make sure you give back to the society what God has blessed you with. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. Just follow us on all our Facebook pages. If you have any contribution, drop your contribution. Tell us your opinion. Tell us what you feel. And if you want to be a part of their team, just call the number. Make sure you call the number to be a part of their team. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So please just make sure you give back to the society. It is very important. No matter how little it is, it goes a long way. Thank you for listening. And until come away next time, stay blessed and stay positive. Bye for now.